Before the great basilicas, before marble altars and towering domes, before Rome became the visible heart of Christianity, there was just a fisherman, a rough-handed man from Galilee, not a scholar, not a noble, not a priest. And yet, history would one day build a throne around his memory, a chair, simple in name, but heavy with meaning, the chair of St. Peter. Not merely a piece of wood or stone, but a symbol of authority, teaching, and unity that has shaped the church for nearly 2,000 years. How did a poor fisherman's seat become one of the most powerful symbols in Christian history? How did Rome, once the city of emperors and persecutions, become the place where Peter would preach, suffer, and finally die? And why do Christians across centuries speak of Peter's chair as something alive? Something that still speaks, something that still guides. Because this is not really about furniture. It is about succession, about leadership, about the belief that Christ did not leave his church orphaned. When Jesus said, "You are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church," those words did not end on the shores of Galilee. They traveled to Antioch, to Rome, to a humble seat that would become a sign of pastoral authority for generations. Empires rose and fell. Caesars vanished, but that chair remained, not as a throne of power, but as a witness to sacrifice, service, and responsibility. This is the story of faith carried across centuries, of martyrdom and mission, of the fisherman who became a shepherd to the world. This is the story of St. Peter's chair at Rome. A shepherd once drove a wolf away from his village. The wolf fled into the hills. Most men would have locked their doors and said, "At least my house is safe." But the shepherd did not stop, because he knew something others did not. If the wolf reached the city, if it entered the marketplace, if it learned to wear sheep's clothing, it would devour thousands. So instead of resting, the shepherd followed the wolf into the darkest place. Not because it was safe, but because it was necessary. Have you ever felt like you were just an ordinary person, destined for an ordinary life? That's exactly who Simon was. A simple fisherman from Galilee, casting his nets day in and day out, just like his father before him. Life was tough, the work was hard, and the future seemed pretty set. But one day, everything changed. A man named Jesus walked by the Sea of Galilee, saw Simon and his brother Andrew, and said something that would alter the course of history. "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." Intrigued and inspired, Simon dropped his nets. He chose to follow this charismatic teacher, and soon after, Jesus gave him a new name, Peter, which means rock. This wasn't just a nickname, it was a prophecy. Jesus saw in this rough, impulsive fisherman the potential for something solid, something foundational. Peter became one of Jesus's closest disciples. He witnessed incredible miracles: the sick healed, storms calmed, and thousands fed with just a few loaves and fishes. He was there, on the mountain, when Jesus was transfigured, seeing a glimpse of divine glory. But Peter was far from perfect. He was bold and often spoke before he thought. Remember when he tried to walk on water like Jesus? He took a few steps, then his faith wavered, and he began to sink until Jesus saved him. His heart was in the right place, but his human fears and doubts were always close by. This makes him so relatable, doesn't it? He was passionate, yet flawed, just like us. The most difficult moment of Peter's journey came on the night of Jesus' arrest. Surrounded by a tense and hostile crowd, Peter, who had boldly declared he would die for Jesus, was overcome by fear. 3 times he was asked if he knew Jesus, and 3 times he denied it. The moment the rooster crowed, just as Jesus had predicted, Peter was crushed by the weight of his own failure. He wept bitterly, feeling he had betrayed his closest friend and teacher. It seemed like the end of his story, but this is where the story truly begins. After the resurrection, Jesus appeared to his disciples by the Sea of Galilee, the very place where it all started. He didn't scold Peter. Instead, he asked him a simple question, 3 times. "Peter, do you love me?" With each heartfelt "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." Jesus restored him, telling him, "Feed my lambs, tend my sheep." This wasn't a punishment. It was Jesus took Peter's greatest failure and transformed it into a powerful testimony of forgiveness and grace. Filled with the Holy Spirit at Pentecost, the once fearful fisherman stood up before a massive crowd in Jerusalem and spoke with incredible boldness and authority. He was no longer the man who denied Jesus in fear. He was Peter the Rock, the leader Jesus knew he could be. Thousands were moved by his words and joined the new community of believers that day. He performed miracles in Jesus' name, led the early church through persecution and challenges, and wrote letters that continue to inspire millions. From a humble fisherman to a pillar of the global church, Peter's life shows us that our past failures don't define our future. It's a powerful reminder that with faith, courage, and a willingness to be transformed, an ordinary life can become truly extraordinary. His journey is a testament to the power of second chances and the incredible potential that lies within each of us. The word cathedra chair did not originally refer to furniture. It referred to the authority of teaching. Judges sat to render judgment. Rabbis sat to interpret the law. Bishops sat to proclaim doctrine. To speak from the chair meant continuity with what came before, accountability to a received tradition, responsibility for unity. Thus, the chair of Peter was not about comfort or prestige. It was about custody guarding something, not one's own. After the resurrection in Pentecost, Peter emerges unmistakably as the visible leader of the apostles. He speaks for the 12 at Pentecost. He presides over the election of Matthias. He delivers judgment in the case of Irenaeus and he opens the church to the Gentiles. These acts were not random. They were juridical and doctrinal. Peter was exercising what Christ had given him, not domination, but direction. Already, the church was learning something crucial. Unity would not be maintained by consensus alone. It would require a visible center. Peter eventually leaves Jerusalem. Tradition places him in Antioch before Rome. But Rome becomes decisive. Why Rome? Not because it was holy, because it was universal. Rome was the capital of the empire, the crossroads of cultures, the seat of power. By establishing his final ministry there, Peter ensured that the church's visible center would not belong to one ethnicity or region. The chair followed Peter not as an object, but as an office. Rome would become the place where apostolic teaching was preserved, disputes were appealed, unity was defended. This was already recognized in the first century, long before later theology developed language to describe it. Peter's authority did not end in triumph. It ended in persecution. Under Nero, Christians were scapegoated, tortured, and killed. Peter, as leader of the church in Rome, could have fled. Tradition says he began to but turned back after encountering Christ. He was crucified upside down, not as a king losing a throne, but as a servant sealing a trust. This matters deeply. The chair of Peter was not preserved by force. It was preserved by martyrdom. From the beginning, the papacy was marked not by conquest, but by witness. It teaches that faith is not retreat. It is pursuit, not hiding, but confronting darkness. God didn't send Peter to the easiest city. He sent him to the most dangerous one, because the light must shine brightest where the night is darkest. Rome wasn't chosen because it was holy. It was chosen because it wasn't. The point of the story, Peter didn't build power. He built presence. He didn't conquer with swords. He conquered with truth. And the chair of Peter is not about control. It is about responsibility. Someone must stand and say, "This is the faith. This is the gospel. This is Christ." Even when the world laughs, even when the empire threatens, even when it costs everything. And now, advice to you. Don't only be a Christian in quiet places. Don't only pray when it's convenient. Don't only speak truth when it's popular. Follow Peter's example. Carry your faith into your workplace, your school, your family, your culture, into the very places that seem hardest. Because maybe that's exactly where God is sending you. Maybe your Rome is waiting. Imagine a great tree standing in the center of an ancient city. Storms rage. Empires rise and fall. Buildings crumble, yet the tree remains. Why? Because two strong roots go deep into the same soil. Cut one root, and the tree still stands. Cut both, and the whole city would notice. Rome was that tree, and its two roots were Peter and Paul. The faith did not arrive in Rome quietly. It did not sneak in through whispers. It was planted with blood. Peter, the fisherman, turned shepherd. Paul, the persecutor, turned preacher. Two very different men. One uneducated and impulsive, one learned and sharp-minded. One walked with Christ in Galilee. One met Christ on the road to Damascus. Yet both were drawn to the same place. Rome, the heart of the empire. The place where all roads ended. The place where, if the gospel survived, it would spread everywhere. Peter preached first, in narrow streets, in hidden homes, in small gatherings by lamplight. He baptized converts while idols still towered overhead. He built the church, not with marble, but with souls. Then Paul arrived, teaching boldly, writing letters, strengthening believers, answering questions, defending truth, like two flames, burning side by side, and the world noticed. Even the enemies noticed. Nero noticed. Persecution came fast and cruel. Chains, trials, executions. Yet neither man ran. They had fled before in their lives, but not now. Tradition tells us Peter was crucified. Paul bearded, different deaths, same crown. Martyrdom. And something remarkable happened. Their deaths didn't weaken the church, it strengthened it. Because Rome could kill the men. Batit golden ti uproot. What they planted, writers from every corner of the ancient world began to testify. They were here, they preached here, they died here. Dionysius of Corinth, Irenaeus, Eusebius, Ambrose, Augustine, Jerome. Voices from different lands, different generations, all saying the same thing. Rome is the chair of Peter, the throne of his witness, the place where the apostles sealed the gospel with their blood. Not legend, not rumor, but memory guarded by monuments, graves, and living communities who had seen it with their own eyes. Even their tombs became silent sermons. Peter on the Vatican Hill, Paul on the Ostian Road. Two markers saying, they finished the race here. Christians remembered something simple and sacred. They remembered the day their shepherd arrived. In the early church, whenever a bishop was consecrated, the faithful kept an annual feast. A day to thank God for the pastor who guarded their souls, not politics, not power, but protection, because a good shepherd meant truth would survive. So when Peter established his chair in Rome, when the fisherman became the shepherd of the greatest city in the world, Christians knew this was no ordinary event. This was the planting of the Mother Church, the center of communion, the place where faith would radiate outward like light from a flame. Ancient martyrologies recorded it. Monks copied it carefully. Even as early as the 700s, believers were already celebrating the chair of Saint Peter. Not a throne of gold, but a symbol. A reminder that someone was watching over the flock through persecutions, through heresies, through wars, through centuries. And every year they gathered not to praise Peter, but to thank God, because God had not left his church orphaned. He gave it shepherds. Picture it. Early Christians, no microphones, no huge buildings, just small gatherings, oil lamps flickering, prayers rising softly. Lord, protect your church. Raise up holy pastors. Keep us united. Their greatest fear wasn't poverty. It wasn't persecution. It wasn't even death. It was losing the truth. So they prayed for leaders filled with the same spirit that filled the apostles. Not famous men, not powerful men, but holy men, men who would guard souls, because they understood something we sometimes forget. A church without shepherds scatters, but a church with faithful pastors stands. Ask yourself honestly when you pray. What do you pray for first? Your success, your problems, your plans, or God's glory? Do you ever pray for your church, for your priests, for your pastors, for those carrying the heavy weight of spiritual leadership? Or do you only notice them when something goes wrong? Christ taught us this himself. Thy kingdom come before daily bread, before personal needs, before everything. The early Christians understood that if God's kingdom grows, everything else follows. So they prayed for holy shepherds, because holy shepherds lead holy people, and holy people change the world. After Peter's death, the church in Rome did not dissolve. It elected successors. Clement of Rome, writing before the end of the 1st century, intervenes authoritatively in disputes in Corinth from Rome. His letter is not a suggestion, it is a correction, and it is received as such. This shows us something extraordinary. Even while apostles were still alive, Rome was already acting as a court of appeal. The chair of Peter had outlived Peter. The Feast of Peter's chair isn't about furniture. It's about foundation. It's about remembering that God guides his church through real, human leaders filled with divine grace. It's about gratitude. Gratitude that Christ didn't leave us alone. He gave us shepherds. He gave us order. He gave us unity. And that gift is worth celebrating. And here's my advice to you. Don't just criticize the church. Pray for it. Don't just expect strong leaders. Intercede for them. Ask God to raise up pastors with courage like Peter, faith like Paul, hearts on fire with the Spirit, because the church you love tomorrow depends on the prayers you offer today. If this story convicted you, encouraged you, or made you rethink what Christianity really is, I'd love to hear from you in the comments section. And so, the story does not end with a throne. It ends with a chair. Not gold, not jeweled, not raised high above men. Just a simple seat, worn by years of prayer, tears, and teaching. A fisherman's chair. Rome had its emperors, its palaces, its armies, but none of those endured. The marble cracked, the statues fell, the empire faded, yet that humble chair remained. Because what Peter built was not stone, it was faith, not power, but service, not domination, but sacrifice. The man who once trembled before a servant girl became the rock upon which millions would stand. And every time we remember his chair, we remember something deeper. God does not choose the mighty, he chooses the willing. He takes fishermen and makes shepherds, cowards and makes martyrs, ordinary men, and builds eternal things through them. So the question is no longer about Peter. It's about us. Where is your chair? Where has God placed you to serve? Who is waiting for your courage, your witness, your faith? Because the church was never built only by saints of the past. It is built every day by believers like you. If this story helped you see the church with new eyes, if it strengthened your faith, if you want to discover more hidden stories of the saints who shaped Christianity, then walk with us. Subscribe and join Stories of the Saints, where history lives, faith breathes, and the saints still speak. I'll see you in the next story.